Just when you thought there couldn't be a dumber question asked. Sorry, Bongino. Sebastin Gorka wants to know, what happens after the decertification of the election? Well, I don't know. I think at that point, all the leprechauns just show you where the gold is, and everybody becomes a full foot taller and adds some girth. This is going to be an ad, isn't it? Nope. You know, when people say that 1998 3D lettering is dead.
From the ReliefFactor.com studios, this is America First.
First of all, we're back in Gorka's shitty office again. And then, I don't know what this... Is Jenna Ellis saying America is shit? What's this number 2 business? And the big, like, we know you have a black heart, Jenna Ellis. Why do you need to wear it on your shirt? Shit. And she looks miserable. Is this the other side of his studio? Yes, it is. She's in studio. I see. So Gorka's the one who thinks America is shit with his number 2 American flag. Got ya.
With Sebastin Gorka.
And not just Sebastin Gorka.
I'm not just Sebastin Gorka. Wah, wah, wee, wah.
Most reliable warrior princesses in studio, former attorney to President Trump. She is the...
Yeah, he doesn't have the best choice in people, I don't think.
Chair of the National Election Integrity Alliance.
The most ironically named organization on planet Earth currently.
Her is Jenna Ellis, ESQ. Follow her, Jenna Ellis Esquire, on Twitter and everywhere else. Jenna, thanks for coming in studio.
No, don't follow her everywhere else. It's bad enough they're following Kristen Sinema into the toilet. We don't need to follow her in there as well.
You. It's been a couple weeks since I've been in studio, so always good to see you.
Yes, everyone loves to sit in front of the America is shit flag.
I can't keep track of it. Have we discussed our America First gear, our merch?
We have not.
Ooh, that's not good. Eric,
I know.
Get the visuals up on the screen for our Rumble buddies so they can see.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot. You're the one selling these shitty t-shirts. The lowest rung merch. Think about this. Trump fans will wrap their fucking boat or bus or car in multi-cut, like, visuals that I have thousands of colors, very expensive, of Trump with his head on Rocky's body or fucking standing on Iwo Jima or some nonsense or looking like the Toxic Avenger. And this is what they crank out. One color screen prints. 2 is for the Second Amendment. Citation needed. Unless he's using... You've just convinced me that Sebastin Gorka uses the American flag as a target. Fuck him.
These you can turn around, Jenna. We have these were made for when the president came on. If you're woke, you're a loser. That's our number 1 seller. If you're woke,
it's so amazing. I mean, who could even the artwork? It's almost like they're using a black and white picture of the one picture he lets Fox News use, and then like 2 lame typefaces.
I need one of those, obviously.
Show everything. The panoply of gears. Show Jenna everything. The MAGA.
Yeah, high quality. I mean, this is when you know, Christ almighty, this merch is so bad. Like, I feel bad for walking past guys in a parking lot after a concert where they're selling you the shirts that you know will last 1 trip in the dryer. This is such garbage. I'm a MAGA gal. So, and it's, if you're right-handed, everybody knows you love Trump. If you're left-handed, everybody knows you MAGA. So what's a MAGA gal? It's apparently in deference to Greg Kelly. It's a Karen on her last legs.
Al Mugs.
Nice. Which I am a MAGA gal, of course, obviously.
What else
Colorado.
have we got? What else have we got? We've got the My Body, My...
Be free, no mandates. Jesus Christ, this is cheap. So they have the Planned Parenthood knockoff logo. How does Gorka have a show? It's a radio show. I mean, they literally, on the right, you can get a fully funded radio show on right-wing media if you have any visibility at all.
Mandates.
Nice.
What else? Oh, and our Stay Frosty.
Stay Frosty.
Tumblers.
It's not even... Have a Stay Frosty mug, and why are you staying frosty? What are you talking about? It's like these neo-militia idiots keep your head on swivel. Dude, none of your body swivels. You're a mess.
What can we get you? Can we get you one of the presidential T-shirts and a mug?
Absolutely, and a mug. Absolutely. I want the Stay Frosty.
Look at the quality. And a hoodie. Jesus.
One though, because when I have been guest hosting for you, I was apparently the first one to remember.
Did you use the phrase?
I did. I ended the show how you always do.
I'm impressed.
Aren't
okay,
you?
In that
I
case,
pay attention.
Let's do the trifecta, Eric. Let's get Jenna the tumbler, the MAGA gal mug, and the president.
This is just fucking embarrassing. Get on with it. You're supposed to be telling us. What are you supposed to tell us? Oh, that the election's going to be decertified. What's going to happen after the election is decertified? More shit merch.
T-shirt. Don't be elusive. Don't be woke. If you want yours, go to sebgorkastore.com. That's sebgorkastore.com. So much to discuss.
Presents. Awesome.
Well, it's, you said it was Festivus, right?
I did. That's true.
We're having
hearing a lot.
It's not Festivus. When did...
Pre-Christmas celebration. So much to discuss.
Yeah,
Let's start
that pre-Christmas, dumbass.
The Supreme Court news. They're not going to hear a certain case. What is that case, and is it a big deal?
Yeah, well, it's a big deal only if you actually care about following the rule of law and the Constitution, which we all should care about.
Right.
And this is a good thing that the Supreme Court is still just saying, sorry, Democrats, no, you can't tear up the Constitution. Sorry, you can't just try to force DC into statehood by judicial fiat. So the Constitution actually, in both Article 1 and Article 4 of the U.S. Constitution, prescribes that it's actually Congress that can create states. You have to go through Congress, not the judiciary. But also this whole thing about challenging for DC statehood on the equal protection basis. What people fail to realize, the Democrats in particular fail to realize, is that the district was created so that we don't have one state that has so much more power
right.
over Congress. So you actually have, you who live in DC and can vote in DC, actually have representation of the entire U.S. House of Representatives, not just a couple. So this whole equal protection argument, I think, is ridiculous. So the Supreme Court just by very quickly kind of summarily said nope. And Gorsuch and Thomas.
Oh my God. No one cares.
Said we would even say that we can't hear this as a non-justiciable question, so they just said we don't even have jurisdiction over this.
Meaning because it is the
Thank you,
Congress,
Raphael.
It's the legislative branch.
Okay,
yeah.
So that's fascinating.
Yes.
In practice,
yeah, it's fascinating, and so what?
To ask, because you're the constitutional law expert. Because this is one of the powers. I mean, the exciting thing is when a case gets to the Supreme Court to be heard. But the other thing is, of course, when they say, sorry, not hearing it. When that happens...
Oh, you mean like the Mike Lindell case that's coming?
What is the half-life of that decision? How long does it, 10 years from now, 10 months from now, can somebody say, well, we're back? Or when the Supreme Court says no... When can this issue return, or is it like forever just in the dustbin?
Well, if you're Gavin Newsom and you've been smacked down by the Supreme Court 5 times in less than a year, I mean, sometimes Democrats are still stupid enough to continue to challenge things.
So there's no rule where people say, well, you got to wait 5 years to be polite.
No. And of course, the Supreme Court, as Amy Coney Barrett very wisely said in her confirmation hearings, they don't enterprise their own cases. It's not like you as a justice go out and you look for what you want to rule on. They have to wait until people appeal things to them. Right. Then they can decide if they want to hear it. And so sometimes they'll say, no, we're not going to hear a particular case because they don't like the fact pattern, or they think that it's not really a great case to take up. But then they'll take one on the same issue, just a different fact from a different state.
Because they have standing, or because it's a completely different case about the same issue, because they're charging it or they're seeking relief based on a different set of factors.
something because they want to comment on that particular case. So, but the practical reality of the Supreme Court is they get so many different appeals, and they can choose, and so only about 1% of cases annually that are appealed are heard, and they can decide whether or not to hear them.
All right, let's talk about the other big news. Wendy Rogers, Arizona senator,
our good friend,
state senator, with I think how many other 90 other politicians demanded decertification. And talk to us about this idea of decertification.
Yes, and by idea I mean shit-filled fever dream.
Reinstatement. We said reinstatement, not a goer. What is the significance of this phrase, and how realistic is it?
Well, it's realistic as long as Republicans have the political backbone and the political will to actually
murder half the population. As long as Republicans are comfortable with a second civil war and murdering half the Americans in the country, then it's a completely viable
thing about it. So while reinstatement was a political
Amy bullshit cornstalk, that's amazing.
That was kind of, in my view, outside the margins of the U.S. Constitution. Decertification is important because it is a legislative recognition through the actual constitutionally appointed entity to recognize and say for the record the certifications that happened in the swing states, including Arizona, were false. They were based on information and facts that were that we have said, throughout since November 3rd. Is not the accurate reflection of what the vote.
Yeah, just because you say they're not reflective of the accurate situation does not mean they aren't. And the election's not going to be decertified based on what you say. It's what you can prove, and you have proved fuck all, except for, of course, that Biden has more votes.
Actually indicated.
So what happens then? Say Arizona decides, okay, there's enough abnormalities, tens of thousands of votes that are potentially fraudulent. If they decertify, does that not then require, if there's a requisite number of decertifications, for a re-meeting of the Electoral College?
Well,
no.
That's one thing that can, and in my opinion, should happen. It
can't. It's not going to happen.
Get at least 3 states to decertify, and basically Joe Biden falls below the 270 threshold, then we are in the constitutional crisis of Congress having to say, hey, listen, we now are in the position that the installed president didn't actually reach the threshold. So what should happen?
No, you can't. He already took the oath. He's the president of the United States. You can try again next time. There's no point where if these legislatures decide that they're mad at the president, they can't go back and pretend to relitigate everything when they have no concrete proof. They're just like, there's enough suspicious activity here when I whiff my own farts that I think we should be able to break the whole thing down. And that's not enough of a reasoning. I mean, it's nonsense. This is nonsense.
Is it should go then to the U.S. House of Representatives like it would have pre-January 6th.
Which was Giuliani and that group's legal plan. Fail.
By state delegation, and they have the opportunity in Article 2, Section 1.6, Congress can, in this instance, vote by House delegation and call for a new election. That's what should happen. And that's why decertification is the first step to remedying this election.
Yeah, they're not going to decertify Arizona, much less fucking Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, any of those states, or Georgia. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And like I said, everywhere they look, they're going to find more Joe Biden votes.
The thing is that House delegations are still majority Republican.
Right, so you can count on them to throw the election your way, even though those people represent fewer Americans than their counterparts.
Republicans would just have the political will to say, we're in a constitutional crisis. We have to address this.
Yeah, the political will to, again, start a second civil war and murder half the American populace.
Saw President Trump last week, by the way, and we had a great conversation about this.
I had a conversation
He's
with
doing
people
well.
who say,
He's fighting
told me
for
this
this
morning that he's called you a few times recently. I have my sources, Jenn Ellis. I cannot disclose them. We'll be back with Jen in a second. I'm Sebastin Gorka. This is America First, come to you live from the relieffactor.com. If you don't believe that the world is turning upside down, just listen to...
Yeah, I don't believe you. Hold on. We're going to skip ahead. I'm not running his ads on my channel. Good God, that's a long ad.
Forward for this reason, Car Firearms is teaming up with America First in 2021. Car Firearms believe Americans shouldn't be afraid to publicly stand up for their freedoms. This is about more than being a gun enthusiast. This is a very personal issue.
This is about threatening your fellow Americans with death and demise if they admit that they voted for someone else.
For the soul of our nation. Carr wants America First listeners to know that they are not afraid to publicly support Second Amendment Fridays here in America First. Check out their amazing line of U.S.-made weapons. I carry a 9mm.
They're not. They're an arms dealer.
Carr, that's at KAHR.com. Go today, KAHR.com, to pick out your favorite weapon. We are back with Jenn Ellis. Follow her on all platforms.
My favorite weapon, of course, is a long straw with a balloon on the end, but that's only because I like fighting to the death.
Jenn Ellis, ESQ, former attorney to President Trump. Full disclosure, I am a member of her National Election Integrity Alliance. Jenna,
So you're both paid operatives of the Trump Super PAC. Gotcha.
Jennifer Horn about the California mandate. Now you have to show vaccination papers to go into any business in LA City. We had Ron Johnson, Senator Johnson, open the second hour talking about his fight against the mandates. What is...
Sure. I mean, obviously, someone is translating the means and material argument for his fight against the mandates from Mandarin, which we appreciate.
Advice as a practicing lawyer, as somebody who understands the Constitution,
who's still never gotten it right.
How do we begin to fight this? Do we have to organize? Because the average person can't bring a law.
You might have to actually vote. I would recommend voting. Yeah, get your, or maybe put a candidate forward that your own people don't turn on in the second election. They vote for them in the first one because they're an unknown entity, and then as soon as they find out who they are, they're like, you know what? I can't do it this time.
Against vaccination mandates. So what is the smartest way for us to resist?
Well, we have to first...
well, obviously, by sucking back horse paste, I guess, in mass, right? You'd have to... it can't just be horse paste. Obviously, it works with cattle.
What?
I think you shouldn't be afraid of any of the any veterinary salve.
What?
That you can stick a straw in the end of the tube. Obviously, is very helpful. Will help you. I mean, not just fight off COVID, but almost anything, because you've never heard, and this is true, and I don't even think Gorka Ellis LLC can argue against the fact that no one's ever gotten the flu when they're dead from ivermectin poisoning. So it is true. Just saying. So you do have that as an available option to you, if indeed you are a desperately clingy, codependent Trump supporter and a lunatic. Just so you know. All right, here we go.
Up and simply resist. I mean, don't have this is just becoming so cumbersome that fine, I'm going to comply. That's what they want everyone to do. And if
well, yeah, they set standards higher so that people will actually not choose death. You gotta at some point, if they don't care about dying, but they do like NASCAR.
You have a valid exemption, or you just don't want to take the vaccine for whatever reason, that's between you and your doctor. Don't do it. Don't let them pressure you.
Well, no, if it's between you and your doctor, your doctor would give you an exemption and tell you basically to wear a mask and make sure that you're taking other precautions. This is hi. I clearly hear Murphy hearing you come home.
There are some great organizations that I'm a part of.
And by the way, she has natural immunity from Rudy Giuliani nearly shitting on her in Michigan.
Counsel with the Thomas More Society.
Yes.
I'm an allied attorney with the Alliance Defending Freedom. They, as national nonprofit organizations, always are challenging religious liberty cases, First Amendment cases. This, in my view, comes under a First Amendment analysis, and it can under many ways. And I think that the court...
Yeah, no, gibberish. Thank you for ending that sentence with complete mumbo jumbo. It's not First Amendment. You don't have the right of free association with the virus of your choice, as long as you get to smuggle it into the country or into some mall or neighborhood.
Going to the Supreme Court is ultimately going
By the
to...
way, just for the record, Rudy, Jenna, Rudy says hi. Just so, yeah.
Have to hear some of these challenges.
How long is that going to take?
It depends on how quickly it can go up. So the Thomas More Society is actually challenging the vaccine mandate in New York City right now, and that's already working its way through. And I think that probably that may get to the Supreme Court in a matter of weeks, just on a temporary injunction sort of a contest. And so it can go very quickly.
Oh, I see. So you guys are trying to force private businesses and organizations into allowing people with an infectious disease into their place of work. Gotcha. Okay, cool. So that you can, so that you as a customer could kill off their other customers. Okay, cool. Right, there you go.
Temporary nature, but I think that the court is going to ultimately have to deal with this question. And everyone from the Democrat side saying that the Jacobson case, Jacobson versus Massachusetts, and I think it was like 1905, that contemplated a vaccine mandate for smallpox from the state. That was a state level mandate. It was not federal. Totally different. And that case specifically did not contemplate whether the vaccine mandate itself was constitutionally permissible, but rather...
Who gives a shit if it's state or federally mandated in an emergency if the emergency is nationwide? It's about standing. One state cannot force a mandate on another state, for example, but the federal government can elicit a federal mandate on certain behaviors, especially anything that deals with the federal government, meaning federal employees. That's why the states are the ones doing the cops and first responders rules, for example. It's the federal, any federal employee, any federal law enforcement, any of those folks, that's the federal government's purview. There is no... In none of these cases is there a federal rule about vaccine mandates or testing mandates in private businesses. You could get a testing, in a testing situation, but there's no vaccine mandate.
The penalty, and it was a very nominal $5 fine that a pastor had to take. So there's no precedent on this.
Yeah, so like all you got to do is put $5 in the basket for the pastor, and you can kill everyone's grandma just by coughing on them in church.
Okay, so you heard her, Thomas More Society, thomasmoresociety.org, Alliance Defending...
Raising money off of this lunacy.
And that's Alliance.
Reach out to them.
AllianceADFlegal.org. We've got to resist. We've got to get it all the way to the Supreme Court. You've been...
Yeah, it's not going to. It's not going there. It'll get batted down at one of the circuit courts.
To Sebastin Gorka and Jenn Ellis.
She was the president. She was on the president's legal team. She was there the day that Rudy leaked motor oil all over the microphone.
In studio for an hour, Sean Spicer.
Really? That's what you're looking forward to? And that was the end of that. There you go. So she knows this is gibberish. Look at her face. Look at her face. It's all sales. She and her organization and the organization she works with make money off the sappy anti-vaxxers, and it's a money train right now. And so they're going to ride it right into the mausoleum that holds everybody.